Okay, go ahead.
Cameron, how are you?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Good. How has the week of training been in Nashville?
Yeah, it's been great. Weather's been good. The facility's fantastic. So we've been able to get some good work done, and happy with the preparation so far.
How have the guys taken to extended road trips to get some work done outside on grass?
Yeah, I think they obviously it's hard being away from families, especially the guys with, young kids and significant others that are left back in Minnesota. There's certainly an aspect of that we're sensitive to. But I think, knowing that we can train that little bit harder, get outside, get in the fresh air, similar to how we talked about leading up to that Austin game. Obviously they see the benefit in that.
Is there an update on Boxy's status?
Yeah, Boxy will be out for the weekend.
Okay. Is it the eye, the adductor, a combination of both, or
Yeah, the adductor thing, and it's really just, he's day to day. He hasn't really trained while he's been here, the 2 days in Nashville, and so, we just want to be cautious with it.
obviously that will present a challenge. Obviously, Nashville has some really dynamic pieces in attack. How do you look at where you guys will kind of match up given that and what Nashville presents?
Yeah, I mean, they're very, very dynamic in the way they attack. They really commit numbers forward. They have incredible movement. They are very efficient in picking teams apart when you give them space to play. So, we have to be really disciplined as a group in how we defend. I thought we showed a lot of that in the last game against Cincinnati, and if we can approach it the same way, then I think we can be successful.
Are there any other injuries that the team is currently dealing with?
James Rodriguez is questionable. He's day to day also. He has a contusion. And then we have a couple guys that are ill, but I don't know if it will affect any selections.
With Boxall out last Saturday, you went with Devin Padelford in that position. Do you see him slotting in? Where do you see your options for filling that center back spot?
Yeah, I mean we have a number of options at that spot, and obviously to not give away what we'll do. Devin, I thought came in and did a really good job. We have Nico, we have Carlos. Where we've been using really two center backs, in the way that we've been playing to have a team that was built with three. It's certainly a position that we're deep in. It looks a little bit different when we're defending, as a four versus a five. And so we've just got a few different things to consider how that looks like as a system, and then what that lends itself to in terms of personnel.
Circling back to James, when did he pick up the contusion? And what is it considered serious? I mean, you say questionable, but how do you kind of look at that?
No, it's questionable. He didn't complete the session yesterday. Anticipate him day to day. It's really just out of an abundance of caution. We'll get back and we'll see how he is on Monday.
Okay.
You don't see a lot of center back setups with two left footers. If it is Devin, do you see that sort of changing tactical setup and how you approach the game?
Yeah, it's interesting. You don't think twice about having a right-footed player play left center back. When you get a left-footed center back playing on the right, all of a sudden it seems a little bit different. The interesting thing when you're playing on the side, your non-natural side, you see different passes, and how pressure affects you is a little bit different, because of the passing angles available to you, on your strong foot. And so I don't see it really as being a limiting factor at all. I look more at the overall qualities that a player has that they bring to the team. I thought Devin came into the game at a really tough time in really difficult conditions and showed what he's capable of. He is a good defender. He's very good in the air. He has, an incredible long throw as well. We have Nico, who's, been very good, played a lot of games, adds a lot, especially on the ball. And Carlos, who's again been a huge part of what we've done over the last 2 years. So I think in all of those we have slightly different options. And I don't look at the right foot, left foot necessarily being a deciding factor.
How have you seen Nectar Triantis settling into the team early this year? That he was out a little bit during preseason. Has he caught up to the rest of the guys fitness wise?
Yeah, it's difficult, when you miss large stretches, and we had a few other guys that were, missed time for different reasons. But Nectar's great. He's a tremendous competitor. He wants to have a big role on the team. He wants to really show his leadership qualities on the field and off the field, and we've seen that. He's really comfortable on the ball, comfortable receiving under pressure, has a good range of passing. We know he can score, shown that in past seasons. So really happy with how he's come along, especially when you mention like the physical nature of it, having missed some time in preseason. But that's a credit to him and sort of the professionalism that he's had, one, to get himself where he came into the start of preseason in good shape, and then, was able to stay fit while he was away from us.
So back on Tuesday, you had mentioned a little bit about the development you're looking for from the guys down in the USL. Now there is a distinct possibility that they may not end up playing um, due to a possible strike. Would those players be recalled due to that, or would they stay with those clubs in the USL?
Yeah, I mean, we would have to assess that situation as it unfolds. There is no immediate decision to recall those players at this time.
Nashville's getting ready for CONCACAF Champions Cup against a team they've struggled with in tournament formats in the past. Do you see their midweek game after this weekend factoring in any way? Is there any way to approach the game knowing that they have a game midweek against a rival?
No, I mean, I would be surprised if they were to play a home game in the league and not put out their best team. I think you can't really look too far ahead. You can't really look past one competition into another. And if they do that, if there are some changes because of that, then we'll be ready for it. But we have to prepare that they're going to put their what we think, and what they've shown as their first available choice players. And we'll be prepared if there are changes.
And so last year, offense was a bit of a problem. Scoring was, however, this year, Kelvin's come out very strong, recovering from that injury. Very much looks like he has something to prove. How do you feel about how Kelvin's been doing so far in the first couple matches of the season?
Yeah, I said it from day one in preseason. He came in really motivated. He came in really sharp. He came in physically in really good condition. He's trained exceptionally well. He keeps showing good habits and stacking together really good days, really good weeks. And it's no surprise that he's had success through the start of the season. And he's scored some good goals. He's had some other good chances, and he's been a part of some really good play that's created chances for others. On top of that, you look at still the work rate that he does off the ball, and getting back, getting into a defending position for us, helping to sort of build some pressure and help us to sort of start that defending momentum. I'm really pleased with how Kelvin's done.
Kind of building off of, excuse me, Yeboah, while we're talking about him, what did you work with in him in the off season to get him back to his form? Because so far we're seeing indications of 2024 Yeboah is back, right? We're hoping that we're going to see that. Was there anything specifically you worked with him to get him back to where he's been these first 2 years, or was it all
No,
on him and his dedication?
yeah, look, every player is given an individual off-season training plan, but you have to give the credit to Kelvin. He's the one that is coming motivated. He's the one that put the work in last season. He's the one that is very reflective of his performances. He's the one that takes responsibility for his preparation, and so any success that he has is completely credit to him and the habits that he has.
So another player on this team who's had success is Anthony Marcanic. He has a tendency to be left unmarked, especially coming into the box. Is that something you plan around since it seems like most of the league has a tendency to just leave him unmarked?
We have, we have our strategies on set pieces as we have for the last couple of years. It is uncanny how often Anthony finds himself available, and even in the last game, there was one that, if Kelvin's not there, it probably falls really nicely to Anthony, but he's had a few chances. Whether it's him or someone else, with the numbers that we have and the how good those players are in the air and their ability to score, it gives teams problems. There's always going to be something that you have to give up. I think when you look at most teams that have a mixture of zonal players and marking players, the more, by nature of it, the more numbers you commit to a zonal position, the less you have to mark. And when we're putting 5 and 6 guys and sometimes 7 guys in the box that are real aerial threats, there's often going to be someone that is unmarked, and it's how we use the marked players to do their job and how we, use the unmarked players to do theirs. So, but it's uncanny that it's been Anthony so often.
Just do one or two more questions. If anyone has any, otherwise we could end here. All right. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you, Cameron, for taking some time today, and we'll see you guys all tomorrow.
Thank you, Cameron.
No
Thank you,
worries.
Cameron.
Thank you all.
Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.